This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danishka Madhavala and read by Chandima Veerakorn. Headlines. Indian singing legend Lata Mangeshkar dies at 92 after contracting COVID. Doctors have requested the people to get the booster vaccine dose without getting misled by myths. National Child Protection Authority says there is an increase of child abuse cases in the country. There is a sharp rise in drowning cases during the first month of this year. Today is the fourth and final day of the 2022 National Industrial Exhibition. Wayamba Radio of the SLBC completes 13 years tomorrow. Lanka Sugar Company to launch third factory soon. Queen Elizabeth wants Camilla to be known as Queen Consort. F1 star Lewis Hamilton returns to social media weeks before new season. Local stories in detail. Lata Mangeshkar, one of India's most venerated singers who sang tens of thousands of songs in her lifetime, has died at the age of 92. She had been admitted to a hospital in Mumbai city in January after testing positive for COVID-19. Mangeshkar had an extraordinary career spanning over half a century, singing more than 30,000 songs across 36 languages. Lata Mangeshkar, a recipient of the Bharat Ratna, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Dadasaheb Phalke Awards, was an icon of Indian cinema, having sung playback for an extensive list of Hindi films. Miss Mangeshkar, who belonged to a prominent musical family, also composed music as well as produced a handful of films. She was popularly known as the Nightingale of India. Lata Mangeshkar composed music for a handful of Marathi films, winning the Maharashtra State Government's Award for Best Music Director in 1965 for the film Sadi Manasse. She also produced some films, among them 1990's Lekin, for which she also sang. Mangeshkar was born in Indore city in the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh on 28 September 1929. She began learning music at the age of 5 from her father, Dinanath Mangeshkar, who was active in theatre. After her father's death, the family moved to Mumbai, where a teenaged Mangeshkar began singing for Marathi movies. She was nominated to the upper house of India's parliament in 1999, but said later that she had been reluctant to take it up and that her tenure there was anything but happy. She received India's highest honour for civilians, the Bharat Ratna, in 2001. Mangeshkar, who never married, had a rich life outside her work, with interests ranging from cricket to cars. Her younger sister Asha Bhosle is also a celebrated Bollywood singer. Indian media reports that her final rites will be held 6:30 p.m. today at Shivaji Park in Mumbai with full state honours. Doctors have requested the people to get the booster vaccine without getting misled by myths. Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemanta Herath said getting the vaccine is essential to protect one's life and to prevent others being infected. He said that getting fever after receiving the vaccine is a normal situation. People who do not obtain the booster vaccine will not be considered as fully vaccinated. It is only 5 million people that have obtained the booster dose at present. There has been a keen interest from the public on vaccination in the earlier days. People were flocked in the queues to get the vaccine, and the government had to conduct 24-hour vaccination centres to meet the demand. But some parties have spread myths regarding the vaccination, and due to that, people refuse to get the vaccine. Some people spread baseless and false information about the vaccine. It is the responsibility of everyone to get the vaccine from the nearest vaccination center without delay. National Child Protection Authority says there is an increase of child abuse cases in the country. Chairman of the authority, Uday Kumar Amarasinghe, says many children are being harassed and abused by their close relatives. Many cases are not reported to the authorities. The chairman says that there are many forms of child abuses and parents must pay more attention on their children at all times. The police say that there is a sharp rise in drowning cases during the first month of this year. Around 30 drowning cases were reported during the last month alone. Many of them have died due to the negligence and neglecting of warning signs. Many local tourists do not read the sites properly and do go to swim and bathe at the dangerous places. Some of them are drunk as well. Police request the public to be more vigilant when going for a bath in a place where there is a threat of drowning. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi60 from Sri Lanka Insurance.
Continuing with the local stories, Wimber Radio of the SLBC completes 13 years tomorrow. Several events have been organized to mark the occasion. The Wimber Radio of the SLBC has commenced in the year 2009 with the leadership of then and present chairman of the SLBC, Mr. Hudson Samarasinghe. The radio channel provided huge opportunities for the skillful youth in the area. Wimber Radio channel can be listened on internet as well. Chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Neil D'Alvis, says that purchasing of paddy harvest of the Maha season is now being held successfully. He made an inspection tour to Ampara yesterday to check the paddy purchasing process. The chairman requested the farmers to sell their produce to the government. The Paddy Marketing Board purchases around 1,500 metric tons per day in Ampara district alone. To conclude the local news, the headlines again. Indian singing legend Lata Mangeshkar dies at 92 after contracting COVID. Doctors have requested the people to get the booster vaccine dose without getting misled by myths. National Child Protection Authority says there is an increase of child abuse cases in the country. There is a sharp rise in drowning cases during the first month of this year. Today is the fourth and final day of the 2022 National Industrial Exhibition. Wimber Radio of the SLBC completes 13 years tomorrow. Lanka Sugar Company to launch third factory soon. That ends local news.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi60 from Sri Lanka Insurance. A health insurance plan to honor our most valued elders by the protectors of the nation. We now give our treasured senior citizens access to the very best medical insurance, specially tailored for anyone over 60. What's more, you don't need medical screening to access this policy. And Medi60 covers a wide range of illnesses. Only from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 0112 357 357.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatmya.
On the main news story, the Commissioner General of Examinations, LMD Dharmasena, says that all arrangements are being finalized to conduct the 2021 GCE A-level examination. The examination will begin tomorrow in 2,437 examination centers. The exam commences tomorrow and it will be conducted until the 5th of next month. He requested the candidates to be present at their relevant centers before the scheduled time. Meanwhile, State Minister Dilum Amunugama says the transport facilities will be supplied for the students who will sit for the GCE A-level examination. Accordingly, special bus operation will be carried out during the time of beginning and the end of the exam. That concludes the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight. Sri Lanka reported over 8,000 cases of dengue for the year 2022, out of which 7,702 cases were reported in the month of January. Accordingly, a total of 8,003 dengue cases have been so far reported, while more than 300 cases have so far been recorded for the month of February. When compared to the number of cases reported in the month of January last year, it is almost 4 times of cases. Only 2,122 dengue patients were detected last January. Speaking to media, Dr. Shilanti Seneviratne from the Dengue Control Unit said, although the threat of dengue is on the wane compared to the latter part of last year, the number of cases would remain at a moderate level in the next couple of months as well. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, the headlines. Moroccan boy trapped in well for 4 days dies. US sources say Russia 70% ready to invade Ukraine. Queen wants Camilla to be known as Queen Consort. A 5-year-old Moroccan boy who was trapped in a well for 4 days has died despite painstaking efforts to rescue him. A royal statement announced his death soon after his removal from the well. The bid to free the boy, named as Ryan, had gripped the country, with hundreds of people gathered at the well and thousands more following online. The boy plunged 32 meters through the well's narrow opening. The rescue had been hampered by fears of a landslide. Rescuers finally brought the boy out of the well on Saturday evening. No word had been given at the time about his condition, and the apparent rescue was initially met with cheers from the crowds. Russia has assembled about 70% of the military capability needed for a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in the coming weeks, US officials say. The ground is expected to freeze and harden from mid-February, enabling Moscow to bring in more heavy equipment, the unnamed official said. Russia is said to have more than 100,000 troops near Ukraine's borders, but denies planning to attack. The US officials did not provide evidence for their allegation. They said the information was based on intelligence assessments, but that they were unable to give details due to its sensitivity, US media report. The officials also said they did not know if Russian President Vladimir Putin planned to invade Ukraine, adding that a diplomatic solution was still possible. The Queen has said she wants Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, to be known as Queen Consort when Prince Charles becomes king. In a message marking the 70th anniversary of her reign, the Queen said it was her sincere wish that Camilla would have that title. There had been suggestions Camilla would be known as Princess Consort, but the Queen's announcement paves the way for her to be known as Queen Camilla in the future. A Clarence House spokesman said, the Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall were touched and honoured. The Queen's message, marking her accession to the throne in 1952, directly addresses the unresolved question of the Duchess of Cornwall's future title. To end the world news, the headlines again. Moroccan boy trapped in well for 4 days dies. US sources say Russia 70% ready to invade Ukraine. Queen wants Camilla to be known as Queen Consort. That ends the world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
On development news, the government launched its island-wide development drive Gama Samaga Pili Sandarak Ayavayan Vadalaksha project in 14,022 Grama Niladhari divisions, covering all 336 divisional secretariat divisions to increase the income of the people and make Sri Lanka a prosperous country. Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa said that a budgetary allocation of 85 billion rupees has been made for this project. Another financial allocation of 15 billion rupees has been made to launch 14,000 home shops with the participation of women in those villages. Therefore, we have allocated 100 billion rupees to implement these projects at villages countrywide, he added. That ends the development news.
Development news was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
And on sports news, it's F1 news and football. In Formula One news, Lewis Hamilton has returned to the public eye for the first time in 2 months following the controversial end to last year's World Championship. Hamilton has not spoken since losing out on a record 8th world title to Red Bull's Max Verstappen in last December's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Mercedes driver posted on Twitter saying, "I've been gone, now I'm back." There is doubt over Hamilton's return to Formula One this season, having lost faith in the sport's governing body. And in football, Cameroon came from 3-0 down to level at 3-3 against Burkina Faso before winning a penalty shootout to finish third at the Africa Cup of Nations. The Burkinabe went 3-0 up through Steve Yager's poked finish, Andre Onana's own goal and Jibril Otara's header. That ends sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Lanka Sugar Company Chairman Janakanimal Chandra says that the company will commence planting sugarcane at Valley Oya Sugar, the third sugar factory which will be set up during the year to produce around 25,000 metric tons of sugar and 6 million litres of ethanol annually. He said the company targets to cross the 2 billion rupee profit mark soon and added that operationally, better last year's performances and achieve higher production of sugar and ethanol in the years ahead. That ends business news.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Moving on to economic news, today is the 4th and final day of the 2022 National Industrial Exhibition. The exhibition is being conducted from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the BMICH. The theme of this exhibition is Modern Industry for Skill Development. 400 stalls are being exhibited at the exhibition representing 20 leading industrial sectors in the country. That ends economic news. And finally, we take a look at the weather report. A slight change in the prevailing dry weather is expected from tonight. Several spells of showers will occur in eastern, Uva and north-central provinces and in Hambantota and Matale districts. Showers of thundershowers will occur at several places in Sabaragamu province and in Noora Eliya, Kalutara, Gaul and Mathura districts during the evening. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in western, Sabaragamu, central, north central and northwestern provinces and in Gaul and Mathura districts during the morning. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. Indian singing legend Lata Mangeshkar dies at 92 after contracting COVID. Doctors have requested the people to get the booster vaccine dose without getting misled by myths. National Child Protection Authority says there is an increase of child abuse cases in the country. There is a sharp rise in drowning cases during the first month of this year. Today is the fourth and final day of the 2022 National Industrial Exhibition. Web Radio of the SLBC completes 13 years tomorrow. Lanka Sugar Company to launch third factory soon. Queen Elizabeth wants Camilla to be known as Queen Consort. F1 star Lewis Hamilton returns to social media weeks before new season. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.